Thank you for staying with us on The World Now, and we're staying on the world's biggest news from the United States, where the Republican Party has won the presidential seat with its candidate Donald Trump as the 47th president of the United States. And I still have with me the diplomat in residence, School of International Service, American University, Wayne. Wayne, thank you for staying with us. Let's begin with your own perception of how the election has been going. And do you agree with those who say the media may have been used as a tool of disinformation just before the election began?
Well, I think first it's pretty clear that Mr. Trump and his supporters have won an overall majority. All the predictions are saying that they've come out with that overall majority among the states. That will give them the dais, the presidential position in the U.S. They have won the Senate. They have not yet won a majority in the House of Representatives, and they may not get a majority in the House of Representatives, which will mean that the two houses of Congress will be divided.
Right, but they have a majority in the Senate, and some persons will say that counts for something. But there are concerns about democracy under the 47th President Donald Trump, and how it is really evolving, especially some of the patterns that we saw during the campaigns. Let's talk about how it impacts the rest of the world, such as Lebanon, the Israel-Gaza war, and also Russia and Ukraine.
Well, I think in the rest of the world, what you're going to see is a presidential campaign more interested in U.S. interests and less interested in working with others in solving those interests. It doesn't mean there won't be U.S. coordination with others, but there will be a stronger U.S. position toward maintaining its unitary vision toward that, and thus not be as closely involved, I would think, in standing up to other powers threatening the United States.
And some are also, concerned about how this defeat may be, especially for the Democrats, that it may actually set back the Democrats for at least a decade. What do you advise for the Democrats as at now, looking at the fact that they may have lost the majority of the seats in the Senate and, of course, the presidency?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the
right,
specific part of the question?
I'm asking you about some public sentiment about the outcome of this election and how it will set back the Democrats for at least a decade. I'm asking your advice as to how the Democrats can actually jumpstart once again, looking at what has transpired in the Senate election and, of course, the presidency.
Well, I think the Democrats thought they could again win both the presidency and the two houses of Congress. It looks like they still have a good chance of winning the House of Representatives, but they haven't. That has to be confirmed as we go forward. And they have not had a majority in the Senate. Now, on international and foreign affairs, I think you may see more of a centering coming from the Republicans also in the Senate as they look at this situation around the world. That doesn't take away Trump's ability to move freely, but it does limit it. And I think we'll just have to see how this works out and plays itself out as both houses. We see what that majority looks like in both houses. Clearly, for additional funding, you're going to need both houses of Congress to support you.
And some of the policies that Trump said he was going to implement when he came to power were some of the concerns that were raised, especially by the Democrats. But with the figures that we've seen, it seems that the American ideology is quite different. What's your own stance as regards the possibility of Trump actually de-escalating the Israel-Gaza war, like he had mentioned during the campaign?
Well, I think you're asking about the presidency of Trump, and I think what you're just going to see is more of a U.S.-centered view of what should be going on in the rest of the world, and the U.S. will maybe differ from a number of its allies in this. It will bring some allies along with it, there'll be an effort to find a united perspective, I think, going forward. But this will be very interesting, both vis-a-vis China and then vis-a-vis Russia. And I think vis-a-vis China, you're still going to see a lot of economic competition with China going forward. With Russia, it's not so clear to me where the Trump administration will come up, how firm it will be aligning with others, and we'll have to see what happens with the rest of Western Europe. They're clearly trying to align their own position to be firmly in a position to counter Russia, and they're waiting to see where the United States is going to line up.
Mm. And some will say it will be a jolly good day for Putin as one of those that supported, Donald Trump. Talk to us about what the posture of other world leaders should be to this election. We've seen the president of other nations, world leaders congratulating Trump. What will this spell for the rest of the world, and what posture should they assume in terms of economy, immigration, and some of the other policies that Trump promised to implement as soon as he gets into office?
Well, I think what you're going to see is an administration moving out aggressively in position of where we've seen them differ from the Biden administration, be less subservient to others, more pushing forward with its own point of view, and believing that it can often carry the day and carry many of the allies, the allied countries with it. We're going to have to see how that works out over the months ahead, and whether there will be a consolidation of U.S. support or a further division both in Asia and in Europe with U.S. allies.
Diplomat in Resident School of International Service, American University, Earl Wayne, thank you for joining us on The World Now.
Thank you.